10 Apple iPhone settings you should change right now. Coming up, let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to 10 settings you can change on your iPhone right now. Some of these are going to help the security of your iPhone. Some of them are going to make the experience a little bit better, but I really got the idea for this video based on the community question I asked you guys the other day, what kind of videos you like to see, and a lot of people said they wanted to see some tutorials, some tips, some tricks, and that's where this came about. If you are an Android fan watching this video, you want to see a similar video on Android, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let's begin with the first setting. Okay, so the first setting to change comes with significant location. So this is going to be found in location services. So head into settings, scroll down until you get to privacy here, and then go into your location services, scroll down until you get to system services here. Go down to where you see significant locations. You're gonna have to do your Touch ID to get into here. And basically what this is gonna show you is kind of the places you have been in the past few days. You're gonna wanna have to turn this off if you don't want, basically the phone tracking everywhere you're going. So that's a setting you could change right now on your iPhone if you wanna feel a little bit more like your iPhone's not tracking you quite as much. And I don't think everybody knew that. Let's go on to the next setting. Okay, so the second setting resides in the same area, and that's this product improvement section. Now, there's plenty of people who are totally unaware that this is on their iPhone, so Apple is already tracking plenty of this, so you don't even need to do this on your iPhone. Turn this stuff off, except for if you really want it on, but honestly, this stuff doesn't really make too much of a difference. I would just turn it off here, and you should get a little bit better battery life as well, because the less your phone is tracking you, the better the battery life should be on the device. So the third setting comes in the way of analytics. So let's go into settings here and let's scroll down until we find privacy. So when we get into privacy, we're going to scroll all the way down here until we see this analytics section. So click that right there. And if this isn't enabled, you can go ahead and turn this off. What this basically is doing is helping Apple improve their product services by sharing your iPhone analytics, diagnostic information, and stuff like that. But that's going to be a little bit of a drain on your battery life in the background. So I would turn that off just to get a little bit better battery life myself. And I always turn this off on most of my iPhones. Okay guys, so in the same section is the privacy settings, the analytics we just went to. Let's go to advertising now, and let's go ahead and take a look at this feature for limit ad tracking. So if this is off, you want to turn that on if you don't want targeted ads being placed to your iPhone. Google does this a lot with their Pixel line, or pretty much the Google whole Assistant feature is basically doing this all the time, where it's tracking what you're searching online and basically targeting you with that. YouTube algorithm does this already. But you can turn this on if you don't want to be targeted and you don't want ads just feeling like your phone's being a little creepy. Some people find it okay that, they're seeing stuff they're already interested in, but just keep this feature in mind. You might want to use this if you're not the person who likes to be throwing all these targeted ads. Okay, so coming in number 5 has to do with the control center. So if you are locked on the lock screen here and somebody grabs your phone, for example, they can still access this control center, which, is not really going to help them get in, but, you never want to even let them get to that stuff because you might have your wallet on your control center, which I would recommend you disable. But we're going to disable that control center on the lock screen. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go into settings here. Let's go back. Let's go to Touch ID and passcode. I'm going to go ahead and enter my passcode really quickly here. When we get in here, we're going to go ahead and find Control Center. So we're going to toggle this off right here. And now if you have your wallet or whatever enabled in your Control Center, nobody's going to be able to swipe up into that from the lock screen. So this is a very good security feature if you ask me. In addition, this is not really one of the settings we're talking about here, but I do want to give this bonus tip here. Go into Control Center, if you can find it here in Control Center. Go to Customize Controls. If you do have your wallet app on there, I would disable that from Control Center, because if you forget to lock the Control Center and somebody grabs your phone, they can see your last 4 digits on your credit card. So keep that in mind. That comes in at number 5. Disable the Control Center under your passcode lock settings. So the next setting we're going to talk about here has to do with the Safari. So Safari is actually tracking what you're doing online, except for when you're in the private mode here. But let's go ahead and change that setting really quickly here. So we're going to go into settings, and at number 6 is the Safari, stop the ad tracking for Safari. So let me go down here and locate Safari wherever it might be. Safari's right there. And we're going to scroll down until we see ask websites not to track me. So you can see I don't even have this enabled here. I did it on purpose for this video, but we're gonna go ahead and click that on. And when you put that on, Safari is no longer tracking your data and what you're doing. So turn that feature on so Safari does not track you. So coming in at number 7 is another Safari setting. So I just left it where we were. This autofill under the general settings in Safari, I would recommend you take advantage of this because it just makes life easier because it autofills and saves passwords and stuff like that. So you don't have to keep retyping your password. It just makes your experience when using Safari just more efficient and easier. And there's a lot of times when we're in a rush or we want to do something and we get into Safari and we got to retype our whole password out. Go ahead and get this stuff set up and enable this so you can have a better, more efficient Safari experience. So coming in at number 8, when I first got iOS 11, I was like, bro, are you serious right now? So when I went into settings, right, and I went into my display settings, I'm like, where is the auto brightness setting? Now, some of you iOS veterans already know this, people who follow it like crazy, iOS, you know this feature. But if you're watching this video and you didn't know about how to get your phone to stop looking so dim all the time because the auto brightness is acting wonky, how you change this is you go to the search, type in accessibility, and it's going to take you to accessibility settings. So let's go to accessibility. You actually have to go to display accommodations and you have to turn off auto brightness from there. Now, it's funny because my girlfriend has the iPhone 7 and she was like, I don't know why my iPhone's so dim. I go into her, settings and I go to display accommodations and reduce white point was on. So you might actually have this enabled in 2. Maybe you did it one time, you forgot it was on. You might want to turn that off as well. Only use this at night when the colors are too bright. You can use that setting right there. But auto brightness in display accommodations is for my tips of settings you should change for your iPhone. Okay, so listen up here. At number 9, sometimes this white background is just, too bright. It's nighttime. Maybe it's not nighttime. Maybe you just want a black UI on some of your applications. There is a kind of a dark mode built within iOS. Now, it's not fully a dark mode because it does do some weird things to the colors, but it doesn't, totally switch it all the way around. So go to search and type in accessibility. And this is number 9 for my settings you should change. Well, this one is going to be more like when you want to change it, but you can have it enabled so you can easily get to it at any time. So when you get to accessibility, scroll all the way to the bottom. At the bottom, you're going to see accessibility shortcut. Click on that. And then click on Smart Invert Colors. Don't put Classic Invert, put Smart Invert Colors. Leave that on, and let's make sure that's ticked off right there. And now just triple click your home button, and everything will turn into this Smart Inverted. So you see it still kind of looks normal, it doesn't look too off. And then if you go into like Safari, it's going to be a black web browser. So this is where I find it most useful is just when you're reading, websites or you just want to read some text and you don't want you want it flipped around. This is the best use for it, but it does mess with photos a little bit. So if you go into Instagram, things just look totally off sometimes. So I wouldn't leave this on, all the time, but sometimes you might want to read and see it in this kind of form. So keep that in mind. This is a feature that is available for your iPhone, and that's number 9 is Smart Invert Colors. Just don't forget to turn off your Smart Invert Colors. And another thing about the number 8 with the auto brightness and display accommodations, if you're the type of person who really just, doesn't really check their brightness and you leave auto brightness off, you might actually get worse battery life. So you really got to be a person who likes to control their own brightness and, monitor it throughout the day. If not, I would leave auto brightness on. I just wanted to mention that, but it's still something that we had to mention to show you where it's at. Now, the final one is one of the best, I think, on this whole list here, and that is to auto answer calls here. So we're going to go again into accessibility. So again, search. Let's search accessibility once again and find that. And we're going to go into general here and scroll down till you see call audio routing. So hit this and go to auto answer calls. So by default, this is off. But if you turn this on, you can actually set the time before you'll auto answer a call. So if you set this time in 6 seconds, it will auto answer any call that you have. That's a really neat feature built within iOS 11 that you might want to turn on if you're the type of person who answers pretty much all their calls, but sometimes you just can't get to the phone. I would turn that one on if I was you. So that is it, guys. That is my 10 tips and settings that you should change right now on your iPhone. Now, I use the iPhone 8 Plus for this example. It really does not matter which iPhone you're using. All of these will work on any iOS device. Most of these should probably work on iOS 11, so I'm not sure if all of them are going to work on iOS 10 and prior versions, but if you're on iOS 11, which I know most of you are, based on my research on the install base, most people are on iOS 11, all of this should work. If you have any tips and tricks you want to leave, help the community out down below in the comment section of this video. If you found it helpful, enjoyable, you want to see more videos like this, big thumbs up. And if you're new here and you like the video, consider subscribing for more. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.